Hello and welcome to another episode of Denver Green Living. If you're somebody that is concerned about climate change and you're thinking, gosh, I should really do something, but whew, so overwhelming, I don't even know where to start. Well, you're in the right place because today we are going to be talking with Kat Haber, and Kat is a climate coach of sorts, and she's going to be sharing a lot of what she does and a great tool that we can all use to hop in there and get some guidance. So, hi, Kat. Thank you so much for joining us.
Joan, it's my pleasure. I am a big fan of yours and the International Climate Action Challenge. So I've been following you since then. So good for you for championing personal action when it comes to adapting and mitigating our climate risks.
Well, thank you so much. And what Kat just mentioned, the International Climate Action Challenge, if you want to find out more about that, greenteamacademy.org is hosting the annual International Climate Action Challenge. You can hop in there and do something as a team, do something fun. But myself as a realtor here in Denver, my whole focus is, I think every time somebody buys or sells or invests in a home, like wouldn't it be great if the realtor said, hey, would you also like to see if that thing could go become a net zero energy home? Or do you want to, what are some other ways, things that you're passionate about that you could make an impact? And so that's my whole focus. But I think, wherever you are, whatever's going on, you can start with a simple tool and get some guidance. So we're going to jump into that in a second. But first, before we do that, Kat, would you give us a little intro about what it is that you do and why you have this passion around climate action?
Yeah, well, when I was two, my own family home and historic hotel burned down from fire. And I have that acrid memory in my bones. And uh, I've been witnessing the cycle of drought, wildfire happening now for many years. And we can do things to mitigate the damage that is being done to our land, our water, and our air if we address our personal consumption. And so going from feeling that sense of urgency to emergency, what can we do to pack our go bag and be prepared? And some of these things are learned from life experience, and other things can be coached, just like an athlete has a coach to become a better player at their sport. We in the West can become better citizens by having climate coaches help us learn what it is to be adaptable and clearing our life ways for having survivability be part of our living in our Western communities. So,
Yes.
yeah.
This is great. And so I put in the show description, you'll see the links to everything that we're talking about today, including Kat's website, which is trustclimateactionstrategist.com. And I love that about coaching because when I changed from engineering to starting to do wellness coaching, I realized, aha, engineering, we're like trying to fix something, we're trying to just give information. And just like with wellness, that doesn't usually solve the problem. It just makes people feel guilty. So I love that you're doing this coaching approach. And so, you can definitely reach out to Kat for more of that. But let's go ahead and
Sure.
dive in. So when I contacted you, I was saying, so how do people get started of just trying to calculate their carbon footprint? And I think, we want to balance this, that some of the footprint is what you are doing individually and the other is what we're doing societally.
Yes.
And when you understand at the personal level, it can motivate you to higher levels of leadership in your community to do that as well. But I think starting at the personal level is great because it takes away a lot of the confusion. So tell
And
us about this. Oh
it
yeah, go ahead.
it really needs to start, Joan, within our own heads. We need to inform ourselves about what is actually happening. And there's been a lot of information recently about how serious, how dire, how much the doom and gloom is happening. But what do we do about it? How do we deal with our anxiety, our confusion, and our overwhelm? I think the first thing that we can do is just start by telling ourselves the truth about how we are contributing to our own demise, our own carbon pollution. And a great way of doing that is by calculating our ecological footprint. So I think, Joan, you're going to click through some of these and we'll talk about some
Yeah,
of the principles as we go through this. So think about what you eat, what you wear, how you move, how you shelter, especially for your people, Joan. Um, they're asking the question about what is the next house they want to buy, or now that they've bought the house, what do they do to be the best climate sensitive citizens nested within a neighborhood, possibly full of trees, possibly um, people doing things in society as a community. So, the things that you can do individually first is be aware of your own mindset. Are you thinking consciously about climate with each decision you make? A human being makes 35,000 plus decisions in a day. So, of those decisions that you make, how are you thinking? So, let's talk about food. Some options. Food, if you are eating animal based products, you will have a larger impact. And if you are eating beef rather than fish or chicken, you will have a much larger impact. So, this tool that we've shared with you in the chat is one way that you can easily go through and just get a very broad stroke about what is my personal impact.
and that just to let you know, it's footprintcalculator.org. But yeah, the link is in the description.
Right. Yeah. So, and then be thinking about distance because the global supply chain now also has a lot to contribute to our carbon pollution, and so if you can get something that is locally sourced, like building materials or like food that is grown in your neighborhood or in your community, these are solutions that don't require a great deal of embedded carbon. That means carbon that comes along with the process of getting it to you in a usable format.
I remember hearing the statistic that like the average Caesar salad has traveled 1,500 miles. So,
Hmm.
if we thought about that, not only did you have to buy the vegetables, but you had to pay for the gas to, like that's the embedded cost that we're not really seeing. So, when you go to a farmer's market, you might think, wow, this is a little more expensive than I thought it was going to. If you can understand that the distance that you're investing in something that's closer so that you don't have to pay for that kind of
And
distance.
additionally, if something comes from outside of your community, if you haven't gotten it from a farmer's market in your local community, chances are there's going to be plastic packaging involved as well.
Mhm.
So, plastics is also a big piece of our climate story. Plastics in the ocean break down into microplastics. The marine food chain ingests that. When we eat uh, products from the ocean, then we are infusing our own bodies with those plastics. So, the
Right,
things we want to intervene in that cycle and do things more organically, more naturally, more locally, more connected to our centers where we live.
right.
So, this question is which housing type best describes your home? And I toss this back to you, Joan. what kind of housing solutions do you see are most climate friendly in the Denver area?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think one of the things that when I was working on the home energy rating system back like 30 years ago, we had a lot of discussions about, you have two different sized houses, you put the same energy efficiency features, and of course, the bigger one is going to use more energy as well as more materials. So, thinking about attached, when I when I was living in an apartment in Denver, my monthly electricity bill was like $18 a month because I was in the middle floor with units above, below, and on both sides of me. So, having a smaller space and less skin, less of the envelope around you can reduce that. But as well, when you have your own home, you might be able to control more about going to solar or some of those other items.
Yeah,
Um,
and I'm glad that you mentioned solar. Great solutions right now. The federal government is offering a 26% currently rebate on homes that install solar. So you might have an investment up front, but then after that infrastructure is paid off, you'll have years of receiving free energy. So lots of solutions like that available in Colorado right now.
Yeah, and I think that Denver, the Climate Action Office is looking at adding another rebate for solar. There's also community solar. Like if you just decide, hey, I want to see if I can go 100% renewable in your home, whether that's panels on your roof that you're buying or you're leasing, or you sign up for community solar or wind power, that's totally doable. But it really just, don't worry that you don't have the answers. Just make sure that you have the questions. Just start asking those questions, and I'd love to be a resource for helping you.
Really well said. Asking beautiful questions right now is really important during this time of transition. The whole world is re examining their dependence on fossil fuels, which have given us a great, amazing growth during this industrial cycle, depending on oil, gas, and coal. But we are learning that fracked gas releases methane, which is 86 times more lethal to our own breathing in our atmosphere. So while that was a solution at one period of time, what the world is moving toward now is a fossil-free future, and that's really what we do is we coach people to learn how to navigate this transition. Many of you might have heard about the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. Yeah, we've heard those. And how do you do that? There are so many decisions to make. And we think that having coaches to be able to support you in doing those decisions makes it easier. You save time and money, and you feel more free and guiltless about making this transition because so many people go, oh my gosh, I'm to this, I'm to that, I feel guilty, I feel ashamed, I'm overwhelmed. Yeah, it's a lot, and we're none of us is perfect. Forgive yourself. We're all learning how to navigate this in a new way, and it's good to have people who have made or are making continuous daily improvements, so that when you're in a community like that, you don't feel so isolated. So
Exactly. And
yeah,
I
let's.
was also going to say, and also like it also um, it illuminates the need for different structures societally.
Yes,
So we can be at the leading edge, but also we can get together and say, this shouldn't be this hard. We need our school districts, our governments, our manufacturing companies to do things differently. But it's us all getting into the game rather than just throwing up our hands and going, I can't take it.
exactly. So right. And when we are making those changes in our own heads and our hearts are shifting and we are doing things differently with our hands, then that becomes a message and we model for our community and we help accelerate and ripple out those changes. We don't
exactly.
even have to be activists or evangelical about climate. We can just be about the business of being better climate aware citizens ourselves. And then we are actually doing many things. We are reducing the demand on those processes and products that are polluting our water that we drink or the soil that we depend on to produce nourishing food or the air that we breathe. And so
Mhm.
think about going beyond just the 3 R's. Think about so many different R's, like repurposing,
And
taking
rethink.
something that, yeah,
And I was thinking maybe we should hit a couple more of these little.
sure.
I was going to read this one. The what material is your house constructed with? I was on a webinar that the Colorado Green Building Guild hosted along with, I think, Excel. And it was a bunch of people who have fire resistant, low carbon products. It was amazing. So instead of concrete, which is a big contributor.
Yeah.
So, it's that thing of people getting excited and being open-minded. I think is a big, a big stepping stone, and that thing of being open-minded and creative is a good approach for all of this.
Yeah, yeah, I so agree with you, Joan. Let's be joyful about the finer future that we are crafting together right now. Imagine having having all of the same abilities, but with a much lighter impact on our planet. We used to, when we were communicating, used to have to send somebody on a horse with a piece of paper and would have to go thousands of miles, and you'd have to re feed the horse. You had to accommodate for the man. Now all we have to do is just click a button on a computer and bam, there is our communication. Or we pick up a cell phone and we can talk around the world. This is the kind of scaling of exponential shifts that are going to be going on from here on forward, because we're recognizing we can do the same things with lighter materials. And that same kind of revolution is happening within the concrete and steel businesses themselves. They're renewably energizing the production of those products, and that's helping bring down our combined carbon footprint.
Yeah, and I think too, it's by us asking. And that's what we're doing right now at EXP Realty. It's pretty fun because just a few of us came together and said, "Hey, I feel like we could do better. We could do more." And the leadership is like, "Yeah, would you guys mind, like helping us, telling, start something." So that's the thing of the Green Team Academy, was helping people get together and and understanding that leadership needs your ideas as much as you need leadership, and you can be those leaders. So that was a great tool to look at, and I think, Kat, so as people go through there, they you can get a report. You don't even have to sign up.
Right.
They'll give you your details. Um, but if people do want more help going through that, what are some of the programs that you have put together, that you help? How do you actually work with people to coach them in this area? This is probably brand new for most people.
Yeah. So TRUST Climate Action Strategists is our company, and we have climate coaches who are able to work with people in a group setting. We invite you to be a part of our community, and we keep you current on the changes that are happening, and we make ourselves available to support you in whatever beautiful questions you're asking about what climate choices you're facing. So whether it's solar panels to food production to the kind of car that you drive, think about what you wear, what you eat, how you move, how you shelter yourself. These are all everyday concerns that we're all facing. So that's what we help you do is face those with a little more clarity so that you have some certainty in these uncertain times.
I love that. This is a a great thing. And can I say that we are kind of elder women? That we are
Yes,
elders? That, I think that for both of us, we've seen, that by putting trust in other organizations, you're giving up your power, and to really believe that, you have great ideas. You may just need a little bit of support. I mean, we all do. And so those great ideas and that vision that you have for a world for yourself, for your kids, for future generations, that's all possible. Um, and it's about working together. And the same with, if you're thinking of buying a home or something, and you're like, it'd be so cool if I had like a permaculture food forest and it was net zero energy, and maybe I could have a space where I could rent it out or hold community events. Like, why not? Let's
yeah.
go for that. We don't have to only invest in granite countertops. Like, there's other ways we can renovate our homes and our lives, and I think we can do it all together.
Yeah,
All right.
and one
Yeah.
of the biggest decisions that a person will make is what kind of home and where will they live. And you may not be able to buy the perfect home, but you might buy a home that needs some updating with 21st century technology. And we just encourage you to to work with people who understand what it is to have a finer future mindset. And Joan, you are one of those people. So always a delight to be with you and support you in any way.
Yeah, this is great. Well, thank you so much, Kat. I feel the same. And I'm very excited about your business and your programs. I think you have something coming up even next
Yes,
week.
I do. Let me pop that in the chat. It's called Living Brightly, and it's just a 1 day event. And it will actually go through the process of calculating your carbon footprint and then help you assemble a blueprint.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent. And I think I have that link in the description as well. So we've got that
perfect.
there too. All right. Well, thanks everybody. And yeah, let's have fun with this. Bring your creativity and your passion. And when you think of all the amazing things that have been created in the world in the last 50 years, like, it's mind-blowing, right? Like, those pictures from the bazillions of light years away, and things going to Mars. Like, there's no reason that we can't figure this thing out. And so we invite you to be part of it. Let's do it together. All right. Thank you so much, Kat.
My pleasure. This is Planet A. It's open for business. Let's take care of her. Earth needs us to make wise choices.
Amen. Thank you.